just to share some knowledge, of what we've learned in the past years, from real estate to some of the financial things that we've learned throughout our years of experience. And so, please.
Yes, welcome everyone. Thank you so much. So, as Luis alluded to, we're really excited to be at the front of the room today, with you on Zoom today, to bring to you a piece of education that we feel is lacking out in our day-to-day, right? So when we think about wealth building, which is what we're going to talk about today, first thing that comes to my mind is, whose responsibility was it to teach me how to build wealth? And if you're like me, the answer may have been your parents, right? Well, it's my parents' responsibility to teach me how to build wealth. However, if our parents didn't get taught, how then could they teach us? So then we go to school. Well, school, did we learn how to build wealth in school? If you're like me, your answer is no, we did not learn that in school. And so, here we are, we graduate from high school and we're thrown out into the real world, right? And we're not educated on how to get a bank account, how to manage credit cards, how to work on a credit score, how to get an apartment, how to get a house, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And building wealth, saving, is also one of those things that no one taught us, so most of us learn through trial and error, and some of us have done better than others over the years. Some of us, it takes us a while to figure things out, and that's okay. However, what we're here to do today is to start the process of eliminating that problem altogether and really empowering people with an education, a knowledge base for wealth building, so that you're not 50-something barely figuring it out, and so that you can acquire the knowledge today to teach your kids or your grandkids, and hopefully develop the same passion that Raul and I have, that we start to share it with our family members. So that's the premise for today's presentation on how to build wealth. Was there anything that you wanted to add?
No, I think Felecia hit it right on the nail, right, guys? Education is never free. You either go to college to get your education and you're going to spend thousands of dollars, and they're only going to train you to a certain level, right? And being an entrepreneur also costs a lot of money. Sometimes I think that being an entrepreneur actually costs more money because of trials and errors. We make mistakes, and so the importance of just having a good team. Michael Jordan was not Michael Jordan by himself. Michael Jordan needed a team to perform like Michael Jordan, right? And so we all need a coach. We need a coach, and financial coach, wealth coach, physical coach. And for us, it's just really important for us to just be in community and be together and learn together and grow together. So yeah.
So before I get started, I just want to make sure that you guys can see, those of you that are on Zoom, that you can see as I start to write. And if you can't, just chat it in. Ayana is on the computer and we'll make an adjustment. So I just wrote system at the top, so hopefully you guys can see it. So to start this presentation, system is something that I want you guys to think about. So what is system? Well, system is a way to test something, right? To process something. System is also an acronym, and I'm going to tell you what that acronym is. So system today stands for Save Your Self Time, Energy, and Money. So why system? The reason why we need to recall our system is because when we're making decisions about money, we want to have logic in our favor, right? We don't want to be super emotional. So I'm going to use a car for an example. Have you ever walked onto a car dealership and looked at cars, and suddenly you start getting really excited, right? Oh my gosh, I like that red one. I like that black one. Look at those leather seats. Oh, that sound system. Oh, this gadget, this button, this, and you start getting really excited, and the salesperson sees you getting excited. So they just kind of start feeding that excitement, right? Because they can tell that you're really emotional. And next thing you know, you're buying a $50,000, $60,000 car that is not conducive to your budget. And all said and done, it wasn't very logical, right? So The whole goal of having a system is to eliminate the emotional impulse decisions when it comes to money. You want to be using your logical brain when you're making a decision to money. So when logic is high, emotion is low. When emotion is high, logic is low. So this system helps that exact problem, right? So we have also what's called a laser test, another acronym, okay? Laser test. So I'm going to explain what this test does, okay? So this is our system. So L stands for liquid. I'm just going to write liquid here. S stands for safe. R stands for return on investment. And T stands for tax benefits.
Or is it tax efficient? Right?
Tax efficient, yeah. Tax advantages.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask a few questions and feel free to chime in on Zoom and here in the room. Where are some monies that one may put money? If you hit the lottery and you got a little bit of cash or you had a little savings from your paycheck this week. Chuck, what was that?
Bank or savings.
The bank.
Perfect.
Bank. Common one. I think we all have a bank account. So bank, savings, stocks. Okay,
Stocks.
so we're gonna say stocks.
Bonds, you said? Good.
Stocks. Where else, guys? Keep it coming at me.
IRA, 401k.
IRA, 401k. Where else?
CD.
CDs. Okay, the bank has a CD.
Money market.
A money market. That's all
Bonds.
within our bank. Bonds.
Real estate.
Real estate. Good, Matt. I think these are the most common ones, right? You guys could agree. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put all of these through our laser tests. And then this over here for right now, we're gonna leave empty. So let's go ahead and start with the bank. Putting money in the bank. So is money in the bank liquid? What does
Yes.
liquid mean?
Yes.
I can go and get it right back out,
Yeah,
right?
you put $100 in your bank account today, tomorrow you'll have $100 and you can draft it out right away, right?
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
Great. Is your money in the bank safe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would agree. You guys heard of the FDIC? Your money is insured by the FDIC. If you read the pamphlet that you got when you opened your bank account, it would tell you that up to $250,000, your money is secure. So whenever you want to get it, go get it, and they promise that it's going to be there. Do you get a return on investment on the money that you put into the bank?
No.
Hardly.
What was
Pennies.
what was the last time
Pennies,
someone
right?
actually opened up a checking savings account and you can tell me what the interest rate?
I could tell you, well, I don't know about the interest rate, but having about $3,000, they give you about 30 cents.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly
something
that.
along the lines of 0.0001, which is not even a penny, obviously. It's less than a penny, so not great. You know, that's a CD, a money market account. The pay is minimal. So your money is not making money being in your bank account. How about tax benefits? Are there tax benefits to having your money in the bank?
No.
No, I'd agree. So if we're scoring this, we're at 2 yes and 2 no.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to real estate. Is your money invested in real estate? Is that liquid funds? Can you access that money?
No.
Why?
No.
Just sell the
You'd have to
property
sell.
before you get the money back.
That's
Right.
You gotta sell the property in order to be able to access the money, period.
Or you can get a home equity line of credit. Same thing, it doesn't happen instantly. When you get a loan, it takes a couple of days, or excuse me, a couple of weeks to get that money.
You gotta
So
get approved.
it is not instantly liquid. Is your money safe in real estate?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
for the most part.
Yeah. What's that? Half and half? Okay, yes and no?
Yeah. So we'll say yes.
It's dependent
And
on
no.
the market.
Correct. And I was just going to chime in that, like we mentioned earlier, I've been in the real estate business for about 20 years. And I would say that overall your money's safe. safe meaning at least you have a house, you have a roof over your head, somewhere to live, right? So there's safety in that. What your value does, how your cash is accumulating in real estate is dependent on the market. Those of us that live in Colorado and have lived in Colorado know that the market's been really good recently, giving returns of 10, even 20% in some areas. But just a little tidbit of information, in a normal market, which Colorado has been above normal, above average. But in a normal market, real estate will appreciate on average 3 to 6% year over year. So, you know, there's peace of mind in real estate. And even in the downtimes, they tend to not last more than a year or two before they start going back up. But so, you know, we can say no's, but for the most part, it's yes. But, you know, for the sake of objectiveness, we'll give it a 50-50. Can you make a return on investment on your investment in real estate?
Yeah.
Yes, right? Your money grows. Again, the market in Colorado has been really good. You bought a house for $100,000 10 years ago, and it's probably worth $500,000 right now. So that is a good return
Buy
on
low
investment.
and sell high, right?
Yeah, that's the trick. Are there tax benefits to owning real estate?
Yes.
Yes. How so? You pay interest on your monthly mortgage, and at the end of the year, you get a 1098 from the bank that you're making your mortgage payment to, and you can write off the interest that you've paid. When you sell your property, you will get a tax-free capital gains up to $200,000 if you're single, and up
$250,000.
$250,000 if you're single, $500,000 if you're married, right? So that's a pretty good bargain, right? You have tax advantages. So in this instance, we're gonna say 3 yeses and 1 no, or a half of a no. Or excuse me, this is a full no, this is a half no. So let's actually just do 2.5 and 1.5. Okay, again, we're being super objective. Moving on, we're gonna talk about the market. 401k, stocks and bonds, an IRA. These are other places people put their money.
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's
Bitcoin's a new
huge,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Crypto.
We can add that.
NFTs.
Crypto.
NFTs.
Thanks for mentioning that.
These are
because
the
that
new
is
dogs,
something-
right? This is the new dogs into the
New
industry, right?
generation, yeah.
New generation. So it's important to also categorize them where they actually belong, right? Because they're subject to the same volatile of the market, right? Which they shouldn't be. However, that's the track that it's been doing, right? The stock market has been tanking, the crypto's been tanking, you know? So yeah, it goes up and it goes down.
So when we talk about 401k, before we get too deep into the laser test, I just want to point out one thing. How many of you know that your 401k, which most companies offer these days, that money is put into the stock market? Is that something that you guys are aware of? Okay, great. So I put stocks and bonds on this because most commonly people are going to have a 401k. Maybe you're not a big day trader, you're not a big, crypto guy, but you do have a 401k, and these two arenas are where that money is being invested in. So with that in mind, let's put it through the laser test. Is money in any of these liquid? Is it accessible?
No.
Yes and no, right? Yeah. So if we're talking the stock market, if we're talking NFTs and crypto, yes, you can go cash it out.
But the tax is very high, and right. So in general, let's just focus on 401k more specifically, because the truth is you will be taxed. Is it tax efficient? No, and we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But the 401k is designed for you to access when you retire, right? That's money that they don't want you to touch until you're 59 and a half. So, however, it being in real estate, I have advised people to use their 401k funds to help them get into a house, because you do have access to it, but it's not easy, right? So the short answer for this question is no, it's not liquid, meaning you can walk in, get it out. Like you have to call, you have to get permission. You're going to have to go through your stock broker. You're going to have to go through a process to get your money.
And if you pull the money too early, then you get penalized for that, right? So subject, depending on what tax bracket you're in, most people who are W-2 are a tax bracket between 25 and 30%. So you're gonna get that hit, but on top of that, you're gonna get a penalty of 10%, right? For accessing that money prior to.
So on a 401k, the penalty is 35% if you access it before you're 59 and a half.
Yeah, we'll just say up to 35%, because it depends on everyone's tax bracket. Yeah. Either way, it's still hefty. 35, 20, that's still a lot.
That's
right?
a lot of money, absolutely. Is your money in your 401k, IRAs, any of these, is it safe?
No.
No.
Depending on the market.
Correct,
on the
thank
market.
you. It's correct. It's dependent on the market. And as you know, the market goes like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. There's no certainty on what you're gonna get.
Okay.
Can you receive a return on investment on that money?
Yes.
Right? When the market's good, of course,
Or like
can
even
make money.
stocks, right? Like even stocks, you buy stocks for $5 and then all of a sudden they blow up. For example, 2008, when the market tanked, you had Ford, all these Fortune 500 companies where their stock dropped all the way to $5, $8. You're able to buy then, and currently they're at 20, 22, 25. So yeah, you could have definitely made some money, right? However, yep.
Amazon's a great
Amazon's
example.
huge, exactly. So yes, it's definitely an opportunity to have a rate of return.
And the final part of the laser test, is there tax benefits for this mechanism?
No.
No. When you access your money, you are going to be taxed on it.
That's right. And, to touch a little bit more about that, most of us don't know that, like in your 401k, any money you put in your 401k, I would say 95%, 90 to 95% of the companies allow, when you contribute to your 401k, you don't pay the taxes when you're going into it, okay? You pay the taxes when you get ready to retire. And yeah, that's when you really get hurt, right?
Well, and one thing to add, we touched on this before in our previous presentation. Are taxes going down or are they going up?
Yeah, very true.
Taxes are going up,
Well,
so.
when you look at, so I'm gonna just elaborate a little
Yeah,
bit more on
please.
that. Like, when you look at what's really going on in our country, I was looking at a chart just yesterday, 2 days ago. I was looking at the historical chart, a 50-year historical chart on gas, right? And gas prices were 80 cents, and every 10 years, if you just look at it every 10 years, it's gone up quite a bit, right? I mean, we're record breaking. So we all know that gas ain't gonna go down. And when you look at the chart, it only goes up, 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 up. There's no real downs, right? So we know gas is going up. We know food is going up. We know the cost of living is going up. We know that everywhere you go, you're gonna get taxed on something. So we know that these things are happening. We know we're gonna end up paying a lot more taxes when you retire. So isn't it important that you know where your money's going, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it-
Absolutely.
It has to
Yeah.
grow with inflation.
At least, right?
At least,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And that's what we're
Can you
struggling
guys-
with right now, right?
Can you guys, real quick, since you're on the topic?
Sure.
Could you just let everyone in the audience know that gas prices typically, they've gone up like 30% over like the course of like
Yeah,
20 years?
I didn't look at the
Finish
percentages.
about-
finish your question.
Just for the people on Zoom.
Yep.
There's a chart and we can send it out, but gas, cost of food, taxes, they've all gone up on average of like 15 to 30%. Income has not gone up. It's gone
That's
up
right.
maybe like 5%.
No, that's such a good point, earning has not kept pace with inflation at all. That's a very unfortunate truth in the United States. The amount of money we're making is not maintaining a pace with what things are costing, and stinks.
And it's crazy because we pay taxes in literally everything. Even when you die, if you have a lot of money, guess what? You inherit an estate tax. So it's very important you know where you're putting your money, because if you don't, your family's gonna, in consequence, gonna suffer because of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the laser test is a super important tool. So in this case, we're saying 1 yes and 3 no's. Okay, so moving on to our mystery outlet for saving money. This is permanent life insurance, which also may be called universal life and index universal life.
And whole life.
Permanent life insurance is whole life insurance. So just to be clear, before we get into, there are two insurances. these permanent aspects, and then there's also term insurance. So use the analogy of real estate, renting versus owning. Term is renting your life insurance, permanent insurance is owning it, that it belongs to you. And much like having a 401k, many of your employers may offer you a life insurance option, right? And that participates in a group. So you might get a benefit by participating and accepting their insurance because it's very inexpensive. What's important to know is that you don't own that life insurance. If you stop working for that company, you no longer have access to that life insurance policy. So that's super, super important to know. So reason being, we're going to talk about permanent because we want everyone in this room, everyone on the Zoom, we want you guys to be empowered to actually own your life insurance policy.
But why?
But
That's what we're gonna go over.
when we're thinking about life insurance, participating with me, guys, what do you think about when you think about life insurance?
For when you die?
For
When you die.
And I would say most people, when you say, oh, you have a life insurance, right? It's most people think about when you die. And in the Hispanic market, that's, una aseguranza para muerte. Cuando muera,
Yeah.
right?
So the when you die part is extremely important. Obviously, you know, you want to, if you have small kids, you want to make sure that there's still going to be a roof over your kids' head. You want to make sure that maybe some of your debts get taken care of, that your family can afford to bury you, you know, the expenses that come along with that. If you've made a lot of good decisions, you may put your money in life insurance to ensure that your family's legacy, your work history, your legacy continues on, right? So that's the death component, what happens with your money after you pass away. However, the other flip side to that coin is, what if you live? The odds of you living, guys, is a lot higher than the odds of you dying.
That's right. And
Right, the mortality charts these days, we're living longer.
That's
We're
right.
not living shorter.
Yeah, to touch on that, it's really interesting. Again, I'm always reading these crazy articles, but one of the articles that I was reading is that our mortality has lasted. We live longer because of technology, because of pills. So, so what we've gotten really good at here in the U.S. is Western medication and how to keep you alive longer, right? How can we keep them in the system and be able to charge them or their insurance company more money? So the
Which is
truth is,
great.
people are living longer.
Yeah, which is great, you guys. So, in turn, longer to save, longer time to save. However, a longer capacity for the need of money, right?
Right?
And so let's go ahead and put life insurance, permanent life insurance through our laser test. So do you guys know if the money that you put in your permanent life insurance policy, is that money liquid?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes, how so, Ayana?
because you can pull it out.
You can pull
You
it
can
out.
pull it out and you don't get taxed on it.
You can borrow that money. That's
Borrow that.
correct. So we have clients who every year when they get their taxes, if they don't need to buy a new vehicle or tires or a furnace or something like that, they will just throw their return into their life insurance policy because maybe they don't need it. Remember, it's going to perform better in your life insurance policy than it does in the bank. So might as well put it in there. And if in 6 months from now you need it, you can just pick up a phone and say, hey, I'm going to need to borrow back that money. I need to use my money. Can you please send it back to me? And you generally have your money with what?
I've had it as quick as 48 hours.
Yeah.
If you have auto draft, where they take out your payment, they just dump the money right back into your account pretty quick.
So yes, the money is liquid in your life insurance. Is the money in your life insurance policy safe?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the money in your life insurance policy is safe. How so? So it is put into the markets. However, the cool thing about life insurance, permanent life insurance, is that the insurance companies guarantee you not to go below a minimum. Your investment is safe. Can you earn? Yes, when the market's good, but they're not going to penalize you on the losses. They're going to take those losses internally, but you're always going to have the pot of positive benefits and your investment is always going to be safe.
So you're saying if you put $100, you can't lose your $100, you can only get more.
Right,
Correct.
you're gonna grow.
The minimum
Exactly.
growth is
Yeah.
0%.
The minimum
Correct.
growth is 0%.
0%.
That's correct.
Correct. Great way to translate it.
Yeah, so
So,
your bottom balance is not deteriorated, right?
Yeah,
And that's what's
not
happening right now with 401ks, right? They're just getting depleted.
Can you guys talk about just like people's 401ks real fast? Like just give an example of what's going on with people, just so that the audience knows.
Yeah, so most of you guys know the market's not doing good across the country, right? Most of these companies, Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies are just getting hit, getting slapped, right? So people's 401ks are being depleted. Literally thousands of dollars of their future are being depleted, and their money account just going down. However, what are they really losing?
Time.
They're losing their time, man. You got it, man. What it took to accumulate that 20,000. How long did it take them to accumulate that 20,000? It got depleted overnight. So
but
for
it
you
took
to,
them 5
but it
years
took
to
them 5 years to
create it.
create it. So that's why it's really important to know where and how, where to put it and how to put it, right? Because if you don't know, you only know what you know, right?
Right.
And that's what's happening across the country. Too many people don't know that there's these tools that we can leverage, right?
Yeah,
And so
the government doesn't allow us to advertise it.
Yeah,
You touch on that too.
yeah.
Why? Why don't people know about life insurance?
Yeah.
Why?
I just think there's the lack of education, right? There's a lack of education. You get a lot of the companies like State Farm, Farmers, American Family, and they're on the TV, they're announcing it, right? And they're out there, but what are they promoting? They're promoting home and auto, but once you're in, they'll offer you a life insurance policy for the purposes of more products they sell you, the longer you're gonna stick with them, right? And that's why it's important. I mean, there's actually a lack of licensed life insurance agents. You have to be licensed to sell the product, right?
Well,
There's a shortage for the amount of people that need it versus the amount of agents to support it. And that's why it's important, that we're out there spreading the word one person at a
well,
time.
and I'm gonna just add to that a little bit. Why do not people not know this, right? That was the
Yeah.
original question.
Mhm.
People don't know this because number one, they weren't educated, which Raul just said. But number two, I mean, you guys, there's Chase on every corner. There's McDonald's, there's Starbucks, but like if you decided today that you want to go get life insurance, do you even know where to call? It's not being advertised. It's not being talked about, and that's why most people opt to do it within their company because they're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And they think they're doing themselves a favor by just getting it there versus putting themselves into the marketplace and looking at options. It's convenience that has kept people insured just through their companies only. So it's unfortunate. And I watched a video about this and just talking about how our system for sales has changed over the years. In the beginning, we had door-to-door salesmen that would come and offer you things, and then in the 90s, we got the do not call list. And so it's not working so great right now. I know all of us are getting bombarded with spam, but and also there's a lot of regulations on it. So, it's something that people need to know that they have to seek that. And I think this is a good time too, just to integrate one more comment about our employers offering it to us. For those of us that are receiving it through our employers, maybe you're grateful that your employer gave it to you. However, I want you to understand that the reason why your employer is doing it is not really because they give a shit about you or your future or your family, but more so because it's a tax benefit for them.
Yeah, and that's, Felecia, you just hit it right on the nail, right? Everything that's designed most of the time is for the benefit of the company, right?
Yeah.
And even the life insurance companies, right? I was sharing this with another meeting we had earlier. Life insurance company, when you get a term policy, right? Meaning a policy that's only good for a period of time, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. After that term is done, it's gone, right? Well, only 5% of those policies get paid out. Why? Because they're fraudulent? Because they're fake? Because they're no good? No, it's because people outlive their policies, right? And so we're being educated by, most of us are getting educated by people who don't have what you want, right? And it's crazy, but we listen to people who don't have what you want to achieve in life. So why would you even listen to them?
Can I touch on something real fast? if you have a life insurance policy with your company, you can still go and get your own. And I just want to elaborate on that. You don't have to cancel your one with your company to go get your own.
Yeah.
You can own a whole one with yourself, and you can also own a
You-
term one with the company.
You can own multiple life insurance policies. And I think this is a good time for me to just share a personal experience. So I just lost my dad a couple of months ago, and thank God my dad had permanent life insurance, and you know, my mom peace of mind that her bills were going to be paid and so forth. So, however, my dad also had a policy with work, $25,000, and he'd only been at that company for a couple of months, but easy check of the box. And he got that, and it was only costing him, I think, like $25
Maybe
a
like 20
month, something like
bucks.
that. So it was
Paycheck.
super inexpensive, but what a blessing. I mean, we didn't even know that that box had been checked. So what a blessing to just be like, oh yeah, by the way, your employer, you had this, and he got $25,000. So, you know, that was a huge blessing. So we're not advising you guys, hear us, not to accept what your company is offering, especially because it's inexpensive. We're not discouraging that. We're encouraging that you own your own policy outside of what your company is giving you. So thank you so much for bringing that up, Ayana. I wanna get through the rest.
We're gonna elaborate more. We're just gonna go through the.
Yeah, I want to get through the rest of the laser test when it comes to life insurance. So with regards to life insurance, is there potential for a return on investment?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And we just talked about this, you know, your money is in the market, so you do get to participate in the gains. You don't have to participate in the losses.
And
So
that,
yes.
and let me just add a little bit to that, guys. It's really important for you guys to know, how is it that a life insurance company is able to give you these guarantees? How is it, right? Well, it's because they have to, every dollar that they receive, first and foremost, a life insurance company, for every dollar that they get in premium, they have to have $30 set aside to pay out claim, do that. So these companies have a lot of money, right? So when they're investing the money, they're putting the money where they know they're going to get guaranteed returns. They're going to get good return. They're not going to put all that money at risk, right? They're not going to put all the money in the stock market. If they put all the money in the stock market, it crashes, damn, the company's gone, right? So it's really important to just, you know, it's important for you guys to know that.
And then the final question, are there tax benefits to having a life insurance policy?
Yes.
Yes, and we somewhat touched on that earlier, right? That money, when you've already paid taxes on it when you put it in, so when you take it out, it's completely tax-free. So yes, there are tax benefits. So as you can see, we got 4 yeses on this one. So 4 yes. So we're super excited about educating people about life insurance. These are the 4 most common places to place your money, and it's really important for people to know the pros and cons. So that said, this is a laser test. It's super simple. I'd be happy to go over it with you guys on an individual basis, should you deem it necessary. But more than anything, I just hope that you feel a little bit empowered, that you have a desire to share this with someone else, that you want to teach this to your kids, that you want to tell your siblings about it. You want to check in with your parents about it. You want to tell your friends about it.
Yeah.
Because one by one, you guys, in little meetings like this and in living rooms, we can grow the education. We can become empowered individuals to start taking charge of our own futures. There is no reason why we can't be wealthy, which is what Louise said. And maybe we're not going to be rich, we're not going to be Warren Buffett, but we don't deserve to be broke. And
Like
this
Louise
is
said.
one way to secure that we're not losing money, that we're making good, easy decisions with our money. So we hope you find the system as beneficial as we did, and we'd like to open it up for a few minutes to questions if there are any others.
I
Yes.
just want to say something real
Go ahead.
fast. So they didn't really touch on this, but life insurance is for everyone. So if you're young, like me and Matt right now, we're in our 20s. we might not want to save for retirement right now. Maybe we just want to save to get a house in the future.
Sure.
We can get that money. So this is not just for people who are wanting to retire.
That's
This
right.
is not just for people who might die and need to leave something for your family. I mean, obviously I have a family, but I don't have my
So-
own kids.
Right.
So I could pull it out and use it for something else. So you
That's it,
gotta think
Ayana.
about
Thank
that.
you. Thanks for sharing that, right? And that's, again, great point, Ayana, because the truth is this, is that everyone's situation is different, right? For example, I'll use us as an example. So Felecia and I are doing a lot of investing, right? We're investing in Puerto Rico, we're doing certain things. However, we know we need to protect our life. I'm traveling to Puerto Rico back and forth, right? I'm working in construction, I'm doing certain things. God forbid something happens to me, I represent a certain dollar amount to this family. So if I'm gone, guess what? She needs to, she's gonna have to replace that income to continue to sustain that. We're blessed that Felecia makes more money than me, so she'll be fine. But but the truth is this: is that everyone's situation is different, Ayana. And 1, 2, life insurance gives you options and choices. I'll give you an example. You don't need to put away money in a life insurance policy for 10 years, for 20 years, 30 years, because you're in your 20s. I mean, we're talking about 30, 40 years before you retire. We don't need to put that amount of money for that period of time. We can actually just get a policy where you put money into a policy for 5 years, 10 years, call it good. The life insurance policy, that benefit continues to grow. Your money's compounding, continue to grow. And you don't need to continue to put more money there. Go buy some real estate, go buy an apartment complex. Hell, go buy a hotel just like us, right? You got options and choices. Life insurance creates options and choices. And that's important for you guys to know.
And I think this is a good time to interject about people buying policies on their babies, on their kids. That is such a good mechanism to establish when your baby is a baby. And you know that you want your baby to grow and go to college one day. So you start a life insurance policy for them at a very young age. And over 18 years, it grows and grows and grows. And when they're 18, you get to pull that money out and send them to college.
That's right.
And I bring that up because many of you have heard of a 529. That is a investment college fund. Why is a 529 not as beneficial as a life insurance policy? Well, there's several reasons, but first thing I want to mention is, what if your kid decide you've invested in a 529 and your kid decides not to go to school? What happens to that money? You get penalized big time to take it out for not using it for college.
That's one. The other thing is that the money in the 529 college plan has to go into some type of fund like the 401k for it to grow. Otherwise, it ain't gonna grow.
So the reason why I bring that up is because I think it's super important for people with small children to actually consider one of these policies at this time. For 2 reasons. 1, it's protected and you're not going to risk, what if my kid doesn't, maybe you give it to them to open up a business, they're entrepreneurial or they save it and you're like, here you go, kiddo, you're in love, you're not going to go to college, you're starting your family, and here's a wedding fund. Or here's a fund to go buy your first house. It's a beautiful gift to be able to give our kids. But as babies, their chances of dying are very, very minimal, which in turn means the policy is very, very inexpensive. So you can start saving for your kid at a very young age at a minimal price.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm just gonna scoop because I'm writing this, right? When you're really young, life insurance does this. Okay? So when you start really young, this is called the time value of money. So like as you're getting older, you're putting money, you're in your teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and then all of a sudden when you once you cross this line, all of a sudden your money just starts compounding and compounding and compounding. And there's a guy that many of you guys might know of. His name is Warren Buffett. You ought to read his documentary or watch his biography. He's really big on the power of compound interest. If you look at the companies that he owns and the companies that he bought them because of he always put them through his formula of compound interest. If it's going to compound, why not? If I could put $1 there, it's going to double and double daily. Why wouldn't I do that? Right? And that's what life insurance does. You're able to build cash value with compounding power.
Savannah, I saw your hand up a few minutes ago.
I ran into a person when I was talking to him about life insurance and like his 401k and all of that. And one thing that he made a comment to me about is that he believes in making sure that you have money not just in one place and to have it into multiple places.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask, what would you guys say to someone like that?
Yeah, so we hear that all the time, right? You want to diversify.
Yeah.
You want to diversify. And my answer, and I'll let Raul have his answer, but my answer is everybody has different risk tolerances, right? And let's just use Blackhawk as an example. If we go to Blackhawk, I'm like, $50, that's it. I don't want to spend more because I don't want to risk losing. You know what I could do with $50? I could buy a nice pair of jeans, I could buy a nice pair of boots. I could get a new coat. I mean, there's a lot of things that I could do with $50 rather than gambling it. So to me,
on the other hand, I'll
my
take a little bit
response-
more risk
yeah.
and I always lose. I should just look for the owner and just donate, write a check to him, because every time I go, I lose, right? But I take more risk factor. But again, I take enough risk knowing that I'm gonna lose the money.
So that said, I mean, I respect the diversification, and I would say that Raul and I are diversified. We own real estate, we bought fix and flips, you know, we're doing an investment in Puerto Rico, like he said. We have some money in
digital
crypto.
coin, we have some stocks,
Some stocks.
right?
We have our permanent life insurance. When we have money in the bank, you know,
We have both, actually. We have
money
permanent
in
and
all of
term,
this.
right?
So I think it's super important that diversification happens. However,
Be
it's dependent on your risk factors. I'll tell you right now, if we didn't have extra money, I would not have a penny in crypto right now. But I can afford to lose $500 or whatever, you know what I mean? So I'm like, fine, put it in there, see what it does, cross my fingers. Because I can afford to be without that $500 if it goes to the toilet. So again, with regards to diversifying, it really depends on people's risk factors,
Yeah, and
risk tolerance.
risk tolerance and where you're at in your stage in life. Are you married? Do you have kids? You know, what does your lifestyle look like? You're traveling a lot, not traveling a lot, you know, and really break that down, right? Like really figure out, you know, what your lifestyle is like and what you want your lifestyle to be 20 years from now, right? And that's important. And we never think about that. However, guess what? You do think about it. Every year that you get closer to it, you're like, damn, I'm still behind. Damn, I'm still behind. You know?
Well, and like now, I mean, I think about our kids are grown, right? But our risk tolerance was a lot lower when babies were in diapers and we needed formula and, you know, gas to get to school and all those things. It's like, we cannot gamble with our money
because we want
with risk of losing that we might not be able to put diapers on our baby. Like those are times when you really can't risk. So, you know, your risk tolerance changes as you.
I grew up with cloth diapers, so it just put a little pin. You know, we could just wash the bad boys, right? Save some money, you know. But
do we have anyone that's on Zoom that would like to chime in with a question?
Yeah.
Any other questions in the room?
Please ask. This is a window of opportunity to ask whatever you would like to ask. It helps everyone, right? This is how we all grow. When you open up the dialogue and you begin to ask these questions and we share, we all grow. Yep.
So 2 things are going to happen for you right now. I'm assuming what's going on in your head, right? Right now, you're either thinking, I need to evaluate what I have. I don't know if it's protected. I don't know if it's growing. I don't know if I own it. I don't know. I'm going to go home and evaluate my stuff. And you may want to pick up the phone and call me and Raul and go, hey, I don't really understand how to read this. Can you help me assess what I have? Number 1. Number 2, you may say, I don't have anything and I need to get something immediately. We'd love to help you with that. Number 3, you may decide, well, this is super important and I do want to share it with my loved ones, with my kids. And maybe you will open up your home to us and allow us to come in and make a presentation to your friends and family. And maybe, just maybe, you might say, Felecia, I want to tell people about it. Tell me how I can obtain the license so that I can go out into the world and start educating with you. You guys, like, there's not enough people teaching this stuff. So if you feel inclined to learn this stuff and join us on this journey, like we really, really
need help. We definitely need help.
and we want to start impacting our people. That's so important to us, you guys. We're passionate about it. We're capable. You're capable. You guys are capable. Like, we're all capable of taking this information and spreading the word. It's a responsibility, and I'm very honored to be able to do it. So if you're ever inclined to join us, there's an opportunity for that as well.
And like Felecia said, just any questions you guys have. You guys want to talk about the real estate market? Let's talk about the real estate market.
Anna has a question real fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Anna.
Anna,
Hi.
you can unmute yourself first.
Hi,
How are you?
good, thank you. Hey, how long does the process take? For example, like the whole application process, and then after you put in the application, how long does it take for someone to get approved for life insurance?
Yeah, great question. So it's pretty quick. The most companies are gonna want you to do a medical exam, blood and urine exam to be specific. So they send a nurse to your house or to your job to draw some blood, a little vial of blood, and then you pee in the cup. That typically takes about 3 days for it to return. And then they go through another process. So I would say fast 2 weeks. If you're dealing with, you have a history of medical conditions, then it's gonna take a little bit longer because they're gonna investigate, they're gonna wanna see what those medical conditions look like. But on average, I would say 30 days back.
So Anna, what happens is when you decide you want to do this, you have to meet with one of us and go through the application process.
Oh,
We
yeah,
put you through a questionnaire. You give us some insight onto some basic stuff about you. Raul schedules the medical exam. Meanwhile, the insurance company is reaching out to your doctor to get access to your medical records so that an underwriter can assess all things, what you said, what they saw in your blood, and what your doctor said. And they assess those things, and then they come back to you with a rating. And usually that happens within 10 to 14 days, I would say. So, and then what will happen at that point, Raul would come back to you, I would come back to you and go, okay, this is what the assessment says. This is what the insurance company is willing to offer you. And then we can adjust it accordingly.
Yep.
Okay, if this, I can afford to spend this much a month, or I really like the idea of fast compound interest. I want to invest a lot, or, you know, I can't even afford the permanent life insurance. Maybe I should only look at terms. So it gets super specific at that point, but I would say 3 to 4 weeks from beginning to end, and that includes you making a decision about what you're going to do. What was the other?
I was gonna say that even if you can't afford a whole, you can get a term and then you can transfer it to a whole later on when you have
That's
more
right.
money.
Yeah.
That's right. It's a
Conversion.
conversion.
So all term policies, not all, but most term policies give you the option to add a conversion rider, basically saying that they'll lock in your age at a specific time and allow you the option to convert it to a permanent policy at a later time.
And that's really important to touch on, guys. I'm gonna add to that.
Yep, please.
You know, locking in your health is so important, right? Because when we're young, you know, I'll use Savannah, one of my daughters. When she was young, she was having asthma, a lot of asthma symptoms, and she was going through asthma. Unfortunately, asthma is one of the high causes of death, right? People can't breathe, their lungs collapse, boom, they die, right? And so what I did is I ended up getting Savannah a life insurance policy and locking in her health at a very young age so that I had something for her. So when she got older, you know, I don't know what was going to happen with her respiratory, if her respiratory is going to get worse, or if she's going to get fixed or nothing or something. And I wasn't buying it for her. If she were to die, I was buying it for the purpose of her being able to live and being able to give her something for her when she goes to college, or if she decides to become an entrepreneur and start a business. And so locking in your health is really important because, again, as we get older, when you're a little baby and you're barely born, you might not be really sick. And then all of a sudden, year 1 goes by, year 2, and all of a sudden you start developing asthma and other, you know, Isaiah was dealing with croup and a bunch of other stuff. And yeah, so.
Anyway, our kids both outgrew their respiratory issues,
Yep.
you know, but I mean, even as a young adult, I mean, you're the most healthy when you're 20 years old.
Yeah.
You know, things start creeping up, guys. Different stages of life bring in different things, especially Latinos. We get diabetes.
Cholesterol,
You know,
high cholesterol.
high cholesterol.
Although tamales, like right now I had 2 tamales and I was like, oh man, my cholesterol,
Yeah, your
my
cholesterol.
cholesterol skyrocketing, right? You know, as you get older, you lose fingers. Like, well, I lost a finger the other day.
Yes.
No, but so those are certain things to keep in mind. What's gonna naturally happen as we get older. So if you can
And-
lock in a rate before those things start naturally happening, even better.
That's right. I think, and does anyone have any other questions? Please.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't want people to see the chair, couch, or and I oh, sorry. Sorry. I didn't mean-
No, you're good.
So the only thing I want to add, guys, is there's a lot that you guys have received. Maybe a lot of questions popped up. And the purpose for these home presentations is to Raul and Felecia said, a lot of this stuff people have to seek it out and they don't even know that you have to seek it out. That State Farm nationwide is not gonna put it all at the table and really take the time to help you understand what it is you are leveraging, what it is you are using. I will tell you, one of the things that made me really passionate personally about when Raul and Felecia, brought this information to me was, number one, like I told you guys, I'm a immigrant's kid from Mexico City. When I got to the country, I started working at 10 years old, selling burritos. I don't have, and especially when I first got here, I didn't have immigration status. Right now. I'm under DACA, for those who know what that is. It's the closest thing to an immigration status that I have. And what made me really passionate about all of this is the fact that unless I had this couple approach me and say, hey, you know what? We have this vision. We have a mission to educate people. If you're about it, if you have the work ethic, if you are hungry to better yourself and your family, we'll take you under our wing. We'll teach you so you can empower others. So one thing that I do want to really put out there, especially in those people on Zoom, if you have unanswered questions, and even if with this Q&A, right, more questions popped up, by all means, reach out to Raul, Felecia, the person that got you on the Zoom. Schedule a one-on-one, right? Schedule a free case. There's no attachment. There's no
commitment.
There's no commitment, right? But get those questions answered. And one thing we are very passionate about, and me myself, is we are recruiting. We are recruiting people who maybe want a different career, who maybe want a career that they can be passionate about. I can tell you guys what I'm doing right now as I'm educating myself and continuing my field training. I'm a receptionist at a dispensary. That is not something that I'm 29, almost 30 years old. That's not something that I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm gonna get a flag. I am super passionate, I'm not. It pays the bills, and I can guarantee there's people out there on Zoom right now, and people that cousins, sisters, brothers, nephews, especially the younger generation, that are doing something that they are not passionate about, that they don't feel a sense of purpose driving within to put out into the world.
That's right.
Think of one person. Think of one person and just send them our way. Give them the benefit of the doubt of seeing this and seeing, hey, you know what? This is for me, or maybe what? This is not for me, but help us spread the possibility of purpose, because I can tell you, this is something, and by something I mean purpose, that I have been chasing for 29 years.
Mhm.
And now that I have it, the only thing I want to do is spread it. So keep family and friends in mind, and just help us spread this mission, help us spread this knowledge.
Thank you, Luis. That's phenomenal.
What a way to close out, Louise.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for joining us on Zoom, and we look forward to connecting with you on a more personal basis.
Yeah, right on. Good job. Cool.
That was
Okay, so
Hold on.